In this video, we are going to be covering everything that is happening after the Ethereum merge, what's going on with the price, what's going on with the NFT markets. We're also going to be covering some up and coming hot NFTs you definitely got to reach out for. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, the first thing we're going to cover is what's going on with the price of Ethereum and the crypto markets post merge. Now, when we are looking at the crypto fear greed index, overall, things are pretty fearful after post merge. But fortunately for all of us, the Ethereum merge was a success. It was actually such a success that pretty much nobody really even noticed it. For the most part, I think for the everyday average person, not really much change to Ethereum, but I'm sure when there is more volume on the Ethereum chain, we definitely will notice those differences. The price of Ethereum was at 1.5 a day or two ago, and now it's going to be at that 1.3. So I was kind of guessing, and again, I don't have a crystal ball or anything. It literally just guesses. I felt like a lot of people were buying Ethereum because of the merge. There was a lot of news. That's how it goes. There's this whole narrative. And then, before the merge happens or after the merge, people start selling because they're like, oh, okay, actually nothing really changed. Really a price difference. There's not more demand for Ethereum and demand for NFTs and crypto in general. So you can see Ethereum, definitely going down and possibly going down even more. There's so many macro factors, the S&P 500, what's going on in the world, real estate. So all these things do affect cryptocurrencies. But so just definitely be mindful on when you enter, when you exit, and your strategy moving forward. Now, when we are moving into the NFT space, there's not really a whole lot of volume moving into space. There definitely has been some projects that have been popping off a little bit. The first project we're going to be talking about is going to be a Solana project, and it's going to be called Wade, Friends, and Family. You might be looking at it and you might be like, okay, well, it's like this water character growing some streetwear stuff. What's so great about it, right? And why is everybody talking about it right now? If you go on the Wade website, they have a lot of cool trailers and a lot of good 3D. It's showing this person kind of changing clothes in the metaverse. They're wearing Nikes, probably potentially a future collaboration in the works over there. I mean, everything's kind of like an Easter egg kind of thing, so it's all speculation. But when you dive a little deeper into the NFT project that they sold, and again, they sold this without too much hype. It just kind of sold out pretty quickly. Collaborations with some fashion brands. I'm not super familiar with these, but I'm sure, if you're in the fashion world, these might be something pretty significant. It seems like possibly advisors or collaborators of this project. So Fujiwara, which is legendary streetwear OG, Edison Chen, pretty big in the Asian streetwear scene, KB, who's the creative director of Undefeated, Stussy, some other brands as well. So these are definitely some pretty prominent people in the space. When it comes to the roadmap, it's not really clear what it is, right? So Tokyo, is there going to be a tour in 2022? What's going on, right? But I think the main thing of why people are buying this is a couple things, right? In the FAQ, one of the questions is, are you actually backed by Line Friends? And IPX, former Line Friends, have been expanding our business, and this is a project officially launched by Line, right? And so if you didn't know, Line is pretty much like a super app, messenger app as well. They sell a lot of stickers. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they sold, an Azuki bean on there. I mean, Line is a pretty significant market share when it comes to messages. You can argue that if 1% of people want to buy the NFTs or whatever, then it could be something of value, right? So there's always that narrative, but it doesn't always hold true. You see projects in the Web2 brands in the past enter the space. Just because you have a big following in Web2 doesn't mean that price of the NFT is going to go up, and we've seen that before. But they do have the backing, they do have the team, they do have the money, so it definitely can be something, and especially if they can bring on a lot of collaborators in the mix. The other thing of why people kind of push this narrative and pushing Wayne up is because G-Dragon supposedly is going to be one of the collaborators as well. Do regular people who aren't in NFTs and Web3 necessarily care? Are they going to buy the NFT? Possibly not, right? Possibly a lot of people who are buying this NFT are NFT native people. However, is it possible that they can turn this brand into something and sell physical products and get regular people interested without even them understanding that this is actually part of an NFT? That's definitely a possibility, right? And so you definitely don't want to rule that possibility out as well, because you can just think of this as a modern day brand that happens to have an NFT for its core supporters, which is just a private membership. So I definitely can see some potential there for sure. All right, so the next update that we have for you guys is going to be Degenheim. And as you know, I did a interview with Milan, the founder of Degenheim. And I just want to let you guys know that there is going to be a tournament for one of their games coming up. So they have 170 teams who applied. The Parallax also put together a team of 5. Shout out to Low Roller, who's the team captain over there. And they are going to try to see if they can win these whitelist spots for the Parallax community. Again, this is a pretty fun way to kind of engage with all the different communities. And it seems like a lot of us are gamers in this space as well. So it's pretty cool that a project like Degenheim is kind of doing it, I would say, the right way, and just getting more people involved in a fun way where it's not just hey, buy my NFT, but it's just something fun that we can do during this bear market. So shout out to Degenheim, shout out to the Parallax fam for, hopefully taking home the gold. And by the way, quick update on the Parallax Academy. This week, I'm going to be sharing all the secrets, all the techniques that I've used to develop the Parallax NFT. As you know, we have an anime style project where I was the art director. If you want to learn more about how I did the art, how I picked the traits, how I chose the colors, how I worked with artists in Japan to make this happen, make sure to pick up a Parallax Genesis, because we are going to be be doing that live course sometime this week. I believe it's probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday. All right, next project we are going to be talking about is going to be degods. So degods was pretty much is the hottest project on Solana right now. A lot of people are talking about it. Yeah, the price definitely dipped a bit because there's less hype after the mint, but there has been a little update by Frank degods. I want to just cover some of the key insights that I took from this Medium article. There's obviously some things that he's doing, like answering all the FUD that people have, right? Like, how come it's not revealed and stuff like that, right? Because obviously they still need to work on the art. So he's just kind of saying like, hey, other projects have delayed as well, so nothing new over there. But again, I think it's all about setting expectations at the beginning. Like if you tell them how long it will be delayed, then it would kind of more clear. Or if you tell them that there's no date on when you're going to reveal, then it's also clear as well. But if you don't necessarily share that information before mint, I think that's where people get upset. So actually it's a team's fault in my personal opinion, because if there's not clear transparency at the beginning and you're trying to build hype, then expect people to FUD, right? Seems like they put a lot of work into art, and I understand this. Like when I did the Parallax NFT, like I had these artboards as well, where it's just like images after image. So totally understand where he's coming from over here. It takes a lot of work. So when you think about degods and like what is degods all about, you know, it starts with degods, and then they have the dust mechanic to get your dead gods, and then degods, you're gonna get the Utes claim. And it's interesting because if you kind of think about it, it's just like you buy one NFT, you get some tokens, things like that, then you get the next NFT, and then you get some tokens, things like that, then you get the next NFT. So it's like this cycle that you buy one thing to get the next thing, to get the next thing, and the next thing, right? It's actually quite interesting because actually they're pretty transparent of like saying, hey, you don't even know what's going to be next. But if you think about Dust Labs and the things that they're offering from their like overall company, they are trying to build tools and software that people can use, and that's ultimately the bet of like the end goal of all of this. But it's quite interesting because I feel like a lot of people are buying degods, dead gods, and Utes and things like that, but they don't really understand what they're actually buying. It's more narrative, it's more belief, it's more being part of something exciting, especially on the Solana chain, even though the end goal, it's not really clear, right? And I feel like if you have a leader that's like very charismatic and you have a team to like push and back it up, people do actually go through this line even if they don't know what the end goal is, right? And that definitely increases the value of all the assets. And if you think about like crypto in general, for especially tokens, right? People that want to do token projects, you know, Dust is a token. Like the only way it's really going to work is if you build an ecosystem, you create reasons for why people should buy the token and use the token and have like utility. So it's not really like, you know, you buy an NFT and you get utility. It's more like they're literally trying to build an ecosystem. And if you think about it, in the entire crypto space, there's very few tokens that actually have value. Even if they have a large market cap, it doesn't mean they actually have real value. The whole goal actually of these token projects is to get as much money into the token as possible so that people actually use it for something one day and collect a tax every time that token moves around. And so I'm curious to know like what the end goal is going to be, like what software product it is. And if the software product is not good, then what happens to the whole chain of like this thing? I'm not saying they're going to fail or anything. I'm just saying like those are certain risks that you should definitely pay attention to if you're going to move money into the ecosystem, right? But overall, I would say the team is pretty strong in marketing. They got a charismatic leader. Apparently they have like 18 employees now, so they got a stacked team, especially on the development side, which is very, very, very expensive. And I think with what the resources they have, I feel like they're doing quite a bit, right? So if you look at the different treasury sizes, so this treasury is actually a lot smaller compared to the other projects, but they're making definitely a lot of noise in the space, right? For me, I don't personally own any degods, but I'm definitely following along to kind of learn the marketing lessons, to learn like exactly what they're doing, because what they're doing actually is capturing a lot of attention and it is working, right? All right, so the next project we're going to be talking about is not necessarily a new project, but there's definitely some news going on around it, and that is going to be Blankos. So this project actually came out quite a long time ago. Actually, I think it literally came out maybe a year ago. They actually built a game. It looks very legit. I remember a lot of people in the Parallax community were talking about this recently, actually, because they bought into it a long time ago. They got assets, a working store. You know, these are definitely more affordable NFTs at that like $3, $34 price point. And then the big news is that the Epic Games store launches its first NFT. So basically just taking the game and putting it on the Epic Games store. Personally, for me, I don't know too much about this particular game and whether it's fun or not, but I will say that it's pretty bullish for Epic Games to be selling a NFT Web3 kind of game on their platform, right? Because it's probably the first one. It's going to be a test. Even if there's not a whole lot of movement and marketplace volume going on in the project, it just kind of shows that, hey, Epic Games is looking at NFTs, and potentially one day there may be more volume, more games, better games, AAA games moving into this space. So, and yeah, you know, during this time, things are kind of in a bear market. A lot of the NFTs that you buy right now probably will go down in value, you know, a month from now, but it's bullish that a lot of people are still continuing to move a lot of money in the space from the back end when it comes to business and building. So right now we are in that builder's journey. And then we also see an update with Yuga Labs over here. Yuga hired a chief gaming officer. They plan to have over 100 employees by the end of the year, and they're actively, heavily recruiting in the top Web2 firm. Obviously, you know, Yuga Labs has a war chest of money, right? So they can afford to hire all these people. But again, people are spending a lot of money on the building side of things, waiting for that next opportunity, that next run for everything to pump up once again. So, you know, if you're not actively trading during this market, which is very difficult. It is a trader's market. Definitely look at the building side of things, trying to get educated on what are good projects, what are not good projects, so that when things set up for the opportunity again for you to trade and things like that, or even start your own project, you will be ready for that wave. And so with that said, that is everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Patrick Dang, and I will see you guys in the next one.